Welcome back to the Stoop, everybody. We're talking something special right now. We're talking all this VAR handball nonsense. I'm talking with Mark. We got James in New Orleans. We got Lawler in Madrid. But first, if you like what you see or you hate what you see, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. You'll get more of it, if you like it or not. Moving on. VAR, I thought we had this figured out. It's been 3 weeks, and every single week, there is drastic consequences to the shittiest rulings. How can, in one match, Everton and Crystal Palace, there's two handballs that neither should be a handball, yet one is reviewed and called and the other is not, and the one who got it called for them, they won the game. Or in the 99th minute, the whistle is blown, game over. Oh no, let's go back and look. There's a little handball, so the scum get to win a match. Yes, I started Bruno Fernandes on my fantasy team as captain, and I'm gonna win because of it.
United, you got away with one.
I'm just baffled. I thought we were clearing things up, right?
No, it's shambolic. It's an absolute embarrassment. I mean, watching some of those matches and the way they're called, the handball's called, I don't know what they expect, how they expect players to, when they leap up into the air and use their arms to balance themselves. And I mean, it's just, I think players now are starting to aim for, the open arms, and I think you're starting to see that a little bit more.
Did you watch much of the Women's World Cup, the last Women's World Cup?
Yes.
Where these rules were sort of implemented. They were literally in the box with their hands behind their back, and goals were going in like crazy because any touch of the hand, even down at your side, was a goal. So they would get in the box and just chip it up to your arms, penalty, you get, and that's where we're heading.
I hope not.
Is that football?
Yeah, no, it makes no sense. It's a nonsensical system. And like I said, no one knows the rules. I mean, the referees don't know the rules, and the VAR officials don't know the rules. And they farmed this whole system out, and it's not working. And like I told you in the Leeds match against Liverpool, they didn't know the rule for the new rule for deflections. I mean, they had no idea what's going on, and it's just nothing's working. It's not working. No. So now it needs to be reassessed. They need to have people like Klopp and Guardiola and all step forward and say, you know what, this is not working. We need to change the system. We need to reassess what we're doing here because it's harming the game. It is really harming the game. The scum match was absurd. I mean, 11 minutes of added time, then you decide, the scum couldn't score in 11 minutes. So let's blow the whistle. Let's go back though and award him a penalty. I mean,
that was ridiculous.
Was absolutely ridiculous.
And then, so you have Newcastle in the 95th minute or whatever, they get a handball call. You have the manager afterwards saying, "This is ridiculous." Yes, we drew level and we got a point because of it, but that just tells me that we're gonna lose a match because of it. We're gonna lose the points because of it. So am I happy that we drew on something so stupid?
I think it's just ridiculous because we're seeing a lot of them. We're seeing a lot of handballs being called. They're all different. Like the one with Spurs, the man's back was to the ball. The player's back. I don't know which player it was. His back
was Dyer, right?
It was Dyer. His back is to the ball, and it glances off his arm. Now, from the rules that I read, that shouldn't have been a handball. The one that wasn't called with Crystal Palace.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
His arms are down like this.
He's doing this.
His arms are down like this. The Crystal Palace player that got called for a handball is like this.
Like this.
And from what I read in the rules as well, is that you can't make your body bigger.
Yeah.
And that's what he does, and that's the one that gets called.
Yeah. Dude, look, at the end of the day, I think the Premier League and football are trying to mold players into these foosball players that your hands are just here and you just kick and head the ball. You can't do anything.
Go!
Like, for me, it makes sense. Like James was saying, like Mark is saying, handball is an intentional movement towards the ball
Yes,
with your hand.
yes.
If a player, and I was a defender for many years, as a defender, as soon as I'd block something, I'd be like this, whether I was turning my body, and if it hit my shoulder, if it hit my hand, that's not a penalty, man. You stick your hand out, or you're jumping from a corner and you put your hand up, or you do something stupid, that's a handball. You cannot give a handball. If a player has his hands in, like to the side, and he's blocking, and it hits him, it's an absolute farce. It's just causing controversy. Every single week there's a team that obviously there's teams that benefit and teams that lose from it, but ultimately the teams that benefit are going to lose from it if it continues. It's ridiculous.
I'm just looking for consistency, and I know that's what they were going for in adjusting the rules and everything. Was we need more consistency of this, but I feel like every other match has at least one penalty.
Yeah.
Vardy could have had a hat trick of penalties, but they took him out because he was tired from touching the ball 9 times.
I think he was tired from tugging at his shorts.
Mark was like, I hadn't seen Vardy play in a while. With that beard, he looks like kind of like a meth head.
I wanted to give him a blanket and a cup of soup.
He's a little grungy and skinny. Like he got tired from shooting 2 penalties and like a sitter. Anyway,
Vardy was supposed to be in the new Trainspotting movie, man, but they just stuck around.
Trainspotting 3. We all overdose.
Going back to the initial point with the VAR and particularly the handball situation, that has to be reviewed quickly because it's.
They're not going to, and it's already.
They're not going to.
It's already kind of too late. If you look at last week, we're talking about Crystal Palace maybe being a contender, not for the league, but top 6, the way they were playing
well.
Everton as well. That's 3 points that I believe that match should have been a draw. The way they were playing, both teams looked very good, but you give one a handball and one they don't even look at.
They looked at it.
VAR looked at it, but the ref didn't go and look at it.
The ref did not go and look.
I think if you get enough
I can't back that.
managers in the Premiership complaining about this, I think that they will take a long, hard look at it.
Can they change the rule to mid-season? Like, I mean,
they can do whatever they want. There's no real rules.
Typically,
but I think a lot
change.
of it it's not the rule itself. It's not the rule itself. It's how they're interpreting it. And
it's open to interpretation.
The
exactly.
interpretation of the rule has to change. That's it.
Yeah.
You can't increase scoring at the expense of
Football.
the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you
watering
just
down the product.
As a defender, John, you're a defender. You said you're a defender. You're blocking. Somebody's coming in to. That's unnaturally bigger, right? You're putting your leg out. It's unnaturally bigger. As a defender, you make yourself as big as possible. So every little, like I can't even stick my leg out with my arm not doing this. So,
this is the thing. What I was saying.
Now that you guys saw my skills.
I like the moves, and maybe you should have been a defender yourself. I don't know, but it goes back to the point. For a handball to be a handball, it has to be, for me, a very intentional movement to block the ball. No defender is really going to stick their hands out like that when a ball's coming towards them. If they do, it's a handball.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing if they do, and it is deliberate.
Exactly. Like I said, the referees need to have some common sense, and this has always been the question in that in most leagues that you play in, and particularly the Premier League, the referees actually never played football. They never played the game.
Yeah.
They just rules.
Yeah.
They never played the game. So you need to have this. Not that football players, ex-ball players are going to go into refereeing because they'll get roasted. But you need to have referees that actually played the game to understand the game properly and not just read it from books and go to courses and all that shit. It's different story, man.
So why don't we add to the VAR room, add a defender, someone who was a defender their whole life, just to give you their input on it. Of going, yeah, he meant that. I know what he's doing. He meant that.
Yeah,
or no. Just to give their input You don't have to
Yeah,
take
because, I mean,
it.
ultimately it's subjective, right? So, but what they have to do is I agree with you. They should have someone there who says, well, look, from my experience, that looks deliberate. And then say, okay, well, that's
Dude,
fine.
it's getting too fucking technical and to be honest,
It is.
I know you guys are on the other side of the pond, but it really is trying to facilitate a different audience, and football that's not the way it is,
Yeah.
man.
No, I
It's
agree,
just-
John. And the integrity of the sport is at issue here, I think. I mean, you just can't have this happen. I mean, you just can't. I mean, they're just blatantly bad calls, and you just can't have it happen.
Fellas, I think we could talk about this ad nauseum, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot more as the season goes on. So let me just ask you this. Next weekend, over-under, handball penalties awarded. I'm going to put it at 4. 4 is the over-under. That's what I say.
I'm going over.
I'll go under at 3.
This over-under game, I don't know, but can you go 4? Can I stay the same?
Wow,
You
yeah.
can push.
All right, we got an over, an under, and a push. Okay, here we go. Well, thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think about the handball rules, the VAR rules, the scum winning, the Spurs drawing, all due to handballs. Y'all, we're hoping for a handball. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that button. Thank you, New Orleans, Madrid, Brooklyn. See you next week.
Leads.